see. Anyone in the audience like to speak on the recreation tourism recommendations? Okay, seeing no recommendation. The next is loosely titled Recommendations for Infrastructure. There are 5 recommendations, all deemed preliminarily consistent in approach. Mr. Ray?
Yeah, the first 2 relate to the way in which levy investments are prioritized and planned
and reference back to the
funded. And we've kind of fixed our discussion yesterday that certainly we want to consider the value of the infrastructure that's protected by those levies, as well as the property values and other activities that are occurring. And that would certainly be part of the approach that we've been considering and is embodied in the 5th draft of the plan. And certainly the council, as our understanding, has long supported the suggestion that owners and operators of infrastructure that benefit from levies and systems in the Delta ought to be among the parties that are contributing to their operation, construction, and maintenance. As with agricultural water quality, we think that the Water Board will carry out their responsibilities quite adequately of protecting supplies for municipal and industrial uses as well. Certainly development of infrastructure in the Delta ought to be aligned with the fundamental priorities that the sustainability plan lays out, protecting the legacy communities and giving them the opportunity to prosper, supporting tourism and agriculture. And we certainly recognize the value of the ports, water-dependent industries, up and down California, whether it's in the coast or in the Bay Area and the BCDC's work. People recognize the importance that the important role they play in contributing to the economic vitality and transportation. And they have a very small footprint, and we've been in discussions with the Port of Stockton already about ways to coordinate their activities with the Commission's Council's responsibilities.
Okay, Mr. Machado.
I'd like to follow up on the discussion with the ports, because there's a lot of changes that are being proposed for using of the waterways to establish a marine highway for container use. There's also expansion of the port for exporting of raw materials. And there's a need to ensure that they can have the mobility for leasing and dredging in order to be able to maintain the deep water channels without having to deal with what they're concerned about is another layer of hoops to be able to go through, that in addition to what they're doing now, to be able to continue with their ongoing activities. And the recognition of the council, that's encouraging.
Okay.
And certainly citing details of the dredging projects and whatnot are always things that need to be reviewed carefully. And we know about the problems with low dissolved oxygen in the San Joaquin River. And I think that's the sort of thing that we would imagine some folks will still want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, because yesterday in one of the charts on recreation that you had presented, I forget which chapter of the plan it related to, was the development of an expanded recreation water-based activity in or around the Port of Stockton. At least that's what I recollect from that map. But we didn't talk about it in detail, but that also raises...
But the dissolved oxygen is not related as to port activities as much as is related to the water quality coming out of the San Joaquin River and the impacts of the tidal flows in that region because of the lack of natural flows.
No, I understand.
I'll just mention I'm happy staff found these recommendations consistent, but some of the impetus for these recommendations are concerns that the levy investment prioritization strategies in the Delta Plan need to pay more attention to the full value and contribution of these infrastructure services. And so I don't want to reopen that whole discussion, but just make that comment.